God. Good evening and welcome everyone to the first ever virtual Parent Information Night. My name is Jennifer and I'm one of the managing directors at Powder Pigs. Thank you all so much for being here. We are live in the studio tonight, very socially distanced of course. A quick shout out to Seattle Lives and PNTA for helping us produce our first virtual parent night. Let's see how I do. I hope to not fumble anything. Tonight we are going to cover several topics, including where we are located, parking, daily routines, student parkas, class assignments, COVID-19 operation policy changes, gear, and other nuts and bolts of Powder Pigs. You will also hear from several staff and a couple students. Say hi in the chat. Let us know, is this your first year with Powder Pigs or are you a returning family? You can also enter questions in the YouTube comments, and we will take a couple breaks to answer a few at a time, and then have a Q&A at the end of the night. This season marks Powder Pig's 51st season of lessons, founded by Nancy and Petter Ring during the winter of 1969 to 70. Powder Pigs is a well-known local ski school. Powder Pigs spent the first 3 seasons operating out of Hyack, now known as Summit East. The little pig pen that sits beside our building today was the original ski school building. When Powder Pigs started there in 1969, there were 100 students and 25 instructors. During a normal non-pandemic season, we now serve well over 700 students per season with 130 instructors. This year will be quite a bit different due to the decreased capacity, but we look forward to being back in full swing in the coming winters. While our programs may evolve over time, one thing remains the same. We are a school that focuses on individual learning and development and the safety and skill needs of every student. These core values will always come first. Here's Conrad, a former Powder Pig parent and instructor, to share his perspective about Powder Pigs.
Hey parents, it is December 26th, the day after Christmas, and I just got back from an amazing ski day with my 3 kids up at Alpental. Our skiing adventures all started out at Powder Pigs, and I want to give you a little story about how that happened for us and what our journey was like and why we chose Powder Pigs over all the other kind of options that are out there. So I've got 3 kiddos, 10 through 15. And we started with Powder Pig. We've gone from the progression of kind of figuring out how to get those boots into the skis all the way on to those magical trips to Alpental with Max, some advanced Powder Pigs instructions. And we did that. I think one of the things about Powder Pigs and why I was really drawn to the school was because different kids learn fundamentally differently. And Powder Pigs really understands that. And I think it's a really almost an underappreciated aspect of education in the United States in general, but also as that transfers to kind of sports instruction. And the reality is Powder Pigs is really focused. The ultimate goal of this is for kids to have fun outside in the cold, right? That is a very basic goal, but it's actually hard to achieve when kids fundamentally learn in different ways. And so one of the things that Powder Pigs does amazingly well is they understand that some kids are auditory learners. Some kids like to see things and then follow. Kids just like to try. Some kids are aggressive. Some kids are timid. And understanding where your kids fall within that spectrum is a really important part for Powder Pigs to make sure that ultimately they end up with that end goal, which is to have fun outside in the cold, right? And that is really how we ended up at Alpental yesterday, spending a full day
before you start scrolling,
busting laps, going through powder. My kids are going off drops. Like, they're loving it because we had that perspective from the very beginning. Now, there is something really magical and special about being outside with your kids. It's a non-competitive sport by and large. And so there's this level of adventure and connection to nature and experience and achievement that you can get through skiing and that kids get through skiing that I think is really, really important for their individual development. And that's why I, after having put my kids through Powder Pigs, became an instructor, got really involved with the organization, and there's just lots of opportunity for your kids to progress the way they want to progress, to have fun the way they want to have fun, and work within Powder Pigs. So hopefully, you know, we started our Powder Pigs journey, I want to say 12, maybe 13 years ago. My daughter plans to come back and become a Powder Pigs instructor. So there's this whole environment and there's this whole history with Powder Pigs. Like, you can't go anywhere on the mountains within Seattle and not run into Powder Pigs jackets, right? And lots of the ski patrol went through Powder Pigs. Lots of the instructors all around the area went through Powder Pigs. Skiers all over the place have gone through Powder Pigs, and it's a great opportunity to introduce your kids into that part of the history here.
Thank you, Conrad. And thank you, Rachel and Seth, Sabrina and Carolyn, for all joining us tonight and your guys' back and forth banter. That's fun. I'm glad you're working out some Parka stuff. And I'll also answer Parka questions throughout the evening and at the end of the show. So moving on, we wish that Nancy could have joined us tonight, but to keep everyone safe, we're operating with a reduced capacity in the studio here tonight. But I know that Nancy is watching this from home as I speak to you right now. For those of you that know Nancy, feel free to say hello to her in the comments. Hi, Granny. I love you. Happy holidays. I hope I'm doing okay. Being virtual is a bit different than years past, so I'd like to take a few moments to introduce some of our management team.
Hi, my name's Kelly Salisbury, one of the managing directors of Powder Pigs Ski School. I started with Powder Pigs when I was 6 years old, haven't missed a season yet. I do most of my work behind the scenes as support, and we look forward to seeing you on the mountain soon.
Hi, I'm Christina, and I'm our clinic manager as part of our instructor training program for Powder Pig Ski School. I have been a Powder Pig pretty much my whole life, since around 4 or 5 years old, and I've been an instructor for 20 years. And now I am a Powder Pig parent with my 2 little girls who will be going through Powder Pigs as well. When I'm not on the mountain, I love skiing with my family and spending time with my daughters.
Hi.
Hello again. So not included were a few other key members of our management team. Nancy, the ski school founder and owner. Annalisa, who is our technical director and also Nancy's daughter. PC, Nancy's son, who helps with building management and during a typical season also maintains that hot chocolate that your children have come to love. Kaylin and Isabella are a part of our admin team and help with day-to-day operations. They're also behind the scenes right now helping produce this event tonight. And then we have all of our awesome instructors who cannot wait to see everyone on the mountain. Here in studio, I'd like to introduce you to Max, our operations manager. He's also one of our behind-the-scenes people making this entire virtual meeting happen. Max, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your sweet Lola walking around below us?
Yeah, I think she's going to come join us. Come here, Lola.
Come on, Lola.
Come on. There we go. So this is Lola. You can kind of see her down here. Sorry for the interruption. But to kind of quickly go over who I am and what I am to Powder Pigs, I've been with the ski school since I was about 3 or 4 as a student, and then I moved away for a couple of years, did a lot of free skiing by myself, and then came back, and I've been teaching for about 8 or 9 years now. So in addition to teaching some of our more advanced classes, I also help out with a lot of our operational situations, so building maintenance throughout the summer, throughout the winter. If there's something that's broken, I'm usually the first one to get the call on the radio, as well as some of the more technical IT systems that we have going. We did a lot of changes this year with COVID, and we have even more stuff coming up. I'm going to be kind of helping out with that stuff. And then you guys also have probably seen me on a lot of Powder Pigs live videos. We hope to bring some of those to you guys again this year. Same with Jen.
Yep.
So that's kind of who I am. I need to get back to doing my job here in the studio. This is my day job. I do this for a living. So I'm going to go run behind the scenes and leave it with Jennifer.
All right, thank you, Max.
Thanks, folks.
All right, so as for myself, quick introduction. I grew up in Powder Pigs, beginning when I was 2 1/2. My brother and I would come up with our aunt, uncle, and cousins and spend the weekends in our motorhome in the parking lot. I was in lessons until I was about, I think, 12 or 13. I then switched gears and became an assistant for a few years, and then after that, I became an instructor. My children have grown up in Powder Pigs as well. My daughter has been an instructor for several years, and my son has gone all the way through the leadership program and is now expressing interest in teaching in the future. When I'm not running Powder Pigs, I work in drag racing. Yep, drag racing. I work in both the event management side and the television production side. For Powder Pigs, I'm the only year-round employee, so I appreciate your patience, especially during the off-season when I'm more focused on my full-time job. Powder Pigs has always been our mountain family, and now you are a part of that mountain family too. Here's Savannah, a current student and daughter of one of our instructors. She'd like to share why she loves Powder Pigs.
Hi, I'm Savannah, and I've been skiing with Powder Pigs for 2 years now. One of my favorite things is that I get to make new friends every year and go skiing with them. Another thing is that the instruction has got me to being able to ski black diamonds. And the best part of all is that my dad is not teaching me.
What?
You've heard it from some of our families and staff. Now let's dive in. Powder Pig's goal is to create a safe learning to ski and snowboard environment where students can enjoy the process of learning as well as the end product of mastering the skill level they were working on. We also want our students to acquire wonderful memories while they learn. And of course, we want to ensure the safety and wellness of everyone involved, from the students to the families to the instructors. Remember, you can enter questions into the comments, and we'll be taking a couple breaks for those and also doing full Q&A at the end. Where we are. So Powder Pigs is accessed from exit 53 off of I-90 eastbound. Google Maps is a great tool to help you navigate to our location. Powder Pigs is located at Summit Central between Easy Street Chairlifts, also known as Pig Chair, and Silverfir Chairlift. Parking is at the far end of the lot, and then you walk up and in front of the Edelweiss condominiums and under the Pig Chair or Easy Street, and where you will find our building, the Pig Pen. Confident skiing families with prior knowledge of the terrain and how to reach our building can also park at the main lot at Central or at the Silver Fir lot and then ski to Powder Pigs. If you're not comfortable on intermediate or advanced terrain, this is not a good option for you. After last year's parking headaches, we recommend all families to arrive at least an hour early to ensure parking in our lot. Each day, we put our instructor signs out, as you can see. And this year, the signs are going to be spaced a little bit further apart to allow social distancing between classes. This is where you drop your child off at the end or at the beginning of the day and you pick them up. We'll talk more about that later. First day parka pickups will happen outside of the Pig Pen at the base of the stairs to the main floor. This year is going to be a bit different due to COVID. The area and Powder Pigs want to encourage folks to use their vehicles as base camps. Please remember that due to COVID-19, our building is closed to the public. The only access will be to the lower or ground floor restrooms located on the far side of the building. Please note the in and out lines and ensure proper social distancing and that the restroom occupancy is met at all times. In addition to the sink in each restroom, we will have hand sanitizer in the restroom, hallway, and outside. Proper hand hygiene is a must this year. The restrooms will be open 1 hour before lessons begin until 30 minutes after lessons end each day. Please allow extra time to wait in line if using the restrooms before lessons or after lunch if you are a Saturday or Sunday family. If you have older students that can comfortably ride quads, we highly encourage using the restrooms at Silver Fir or the Central Lodge. There are also portable restrooms that are going to be put in the parking lot. They are going to be located down the hill from the Central Ski Patrol building in that parking lot. So, what does a typical class day look like at Powder Pigs? Friday night lessons are from 7 to 9 p.m. There's no lunch or dinner break. Parents who typically hang out in our lodge can instead enjoy a night of skiing or a good book in the comfort of their vehicle. We'll miss your camaraderie inside, but that's the way it is this year. Saturday and Sunday lessons are from 10 to 3. These programs take a 1-hour lunch break from 12 to 1 p.m. where your student is back with you, not with their instructor. Whenever dropping off or picking up a student, please always go to the instructor sign and make eye contact with the instructor and verbalize to notify them that you are dropping off or picking up your student. Do not ever call your student from afar to break away from their class. This is a major Powder Pig safety rule. Saturday and Sunday families may set up their base camp areas either at their cars or around the Powder Pig terrain. However, any sled or temporary tent structures must adhere to social distancing guidelines of 6 feet of distance, and at no time are families from other households allowed to intermingle. Our popular tent city, located next to Powder Pig Chair, needs to be sure to adhere to this winter's social distancing rules as well, and to not block any of the walking areas, lift lines, or ski terrain. So let's talk about what to expect and what not to expect. This year, Powder Pigs will not have any day lift ticket sales. All lift tickets must be bought in advance online and picked up at one of the area's ticket windows at either West, Central, or Silver Fir before lessons each day. This is why we recommend your student have a season's pass. Our store will not be open for on-site purchases. We may get merchandise on the website in the future, but for right now, we just don't have that ability. Just like in years past, we are unable to provide Wi-Fi at the pig pen due to bandwidth limitations. There's also no food or beverage service. The nearest food service is at the Silver Fir Lodge, which requires intermediate to advanced skiing abilities or walking up and down a very steep hill, which I've done it, it's terrible. Powder Pig's kitchen will be closed this winter, so please plan ahead and bring your own thermos of hot water or a brown bag lunch. Please plan to pack out your own garbage and recycle this year also. That's an effort to reduce touch points for our staff. Minimizing garbage service means that they have to touch less things that everybody else touches. We also recommend that you spend some time familiarizing yourself with the area's COVID policies, which can be found at summitatsnoqualmie.com/COVID-19. Let's take a quick look at the area's COVID info video.
Hi there. How's it going? I'm Guy Lawrence. I'm the General Manager at the Summit at Snoqualmie. I want to talk to you today about the upcoming season. Number one, we're going to open. It's going to happen. Forecast is looking good. La Nina. Those are the words we love to hear. And we're super excited about the upcoming season, of course. Snow isn't too far away. It should be just around the corner. Our teams are out there getting super busy, getting the final prep done to welcome you guys back to the mountain. But of course, there's a few things going on that we're all aware of, and there's a few changes that we can expect this coming season. We want to talk about some of those things today.
Thanks for that, Guy. This season, we're in it together, and the number one thing is if you're not feeling 100%, stay home. Please do not come to the mountain. There will be another POW day. Get well, come on back up when you're feeling 100%. Number two, face masks are required at the mountain. That's in the lift line, on the chairlift, inside our lodges, in the plaza. So don't forget your face mask. You need it to visit the resort. Thankfully though, we're skiers and snowboarders. A lot of us have one of these already, and we're used to wearing masks outside. Number 3, there will be physical distancing measures throughout the entire resort. There'll be plenty of signs to remind you to make it really easy to help respect your fellow skiers and snowboarders when you're at the mountain this season. Number 4, use your vehicle as a base camp this season. Get ready at your car, in the parking lot, inside. We know it's kind of tough, but you've probably got it figured out at this point. So be prepared, get ready in the car, come to the base area ready to go so that you don't have to get ready in our lodges because there will be reduced capacity inside. Number 5 is an easy rule of thumb. If you arrive together, ride together. That's a really easy one for skiers and snowboarders because it's just way more fun to ride with your buddies. What it really means is just stick with your party. When you're coming into the lodges, be sure to sit together, and when you're loading chairlifts, stay in your group, load together, and try not to split apart unless you really need to provide some more distancing. Number 6, singles won't mingle. What that means is that if you're loading a chair as a single and you're on a quad chair, for example, we'll pair you up with another single, but we're gonna load you to the outsides of the chairlift and nobody else on the interior seats. So there'll be 2 per a quad chair. If you're a single loading on a double chair, like chair 2, for example, where normally loading single has always been a big no-no, this year, we will be allowing singles to load on our double chairs to provide more social distancing. Number 7, we're going to be reducing visitation this year. And in order to do that, we will be limiting seasons pass sales and we will be limiting lift ticket sales, especially on peak weekends. If you're a pass holder, we do not plan on doing reservations right now. We're trying to make it all based on reducing the number of passes and lift tickets that are sold. Number 8, you're going to want to buy online in advance, and that applies to everything we have, from products to services, lift tickets, lessons, rentals, snow tubing, snowshoeing. It's all going to be online available in advance, and we're doing that so that we can better manage the visitation and provide a better experience for you guys when you get to the mountain. Number 9, when you get to the mountain, you're going to find that we have gone cashless. We're accepting many different forms of payment, including mobile payment, gift cards, digital gift cards, as well as all major credit cards. So keep that in mind and come prepared so when you visit our food and beverage outlets, you're ready to go to make that purchase. Number 10, all of our lodges and facilities are going to have reduced occupancy this season, and that's going to fall in line with state and county guidelines at the time. So what that means is that we're going to have to reduce the number of people that are entering the lodges, and we are not going to be offering brown bagging this season. That means no outside food or drinks. So if you're planning on bringing up your own lunch, which we highly recommend considering that, make sure to eat it at your car this winter. Number 11, be wise, sanitize. We're going to be increasing our sanitization efforts this year at the mountain, and we're also going to be placing sanitization stations throughout the resort so you have convenient and easy access more than just washing your hands in the restrooms. Number 12, this one's easy for the powder hounds out there because we're all trying to do it no matter what, and it's avoid busier days. If you have flexibility and you can come up on a weekday, do it. Avoid that weekend or peak days in the January and February timeframe. And number 13, last but not least, we're in it together this season. Please be respectful of your fellow riders, our staff. We're all here trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to enjoy the outdoors, have a good time in the snow, and it's all about creating a safe and fun experience and maintaining the entire season. The winter's a long one. We can enjoy a lot this season, and we can do it together.
All right, so thank you to the Summit at Snoqualmie for all of that helpful information. We greatly appreciate their partnership. Now let's talk about the parkas. As I briefly mentioned, parka pickup for those who have already purchased a parka will be the first 2 weeks of lessons outside of the pig pen. Please dress your student in a warm winter coat for the first lesson in case you decide not to wait in the parka pickup line, so that way they're prepared for outdoor lessons and the walk to and from the car and the pig pen. Student parkas are only available in sizes 3T to youth double XL. We do not sell adult-sized parkas. If you did not purchase a parka or unsure if you purchased a parka, please email me at jennifer@powderpigs.com. Right there. We will take your child's size that you think they need, and then we'll assess the inventory and sell parkas once the already purchased parkas have been distributed. Now, let's take a quick break for 3 questions that we've covered so far. Mohammed. So, Mohammed is wondering that he forgot if he purchased a parka and how to verify. So again, Mohammed, just shoot me an email, jennifer@powderpigs.com. And when I'm not sitting on a stage and I'm actually back at my home office, I'll look it up and I will let you know. So again, right there, jennifer@powderpigs.com. Another question that came in via email is, if we park at Silver Fir and ski to lessons, what time should we arrive? That's a tough one. I would still say you want to arrive an hour early, at least, because those parking lots, historically what we see is that they're filling up by people who are trying to catch first chair and get the first runs of the day. So no matter where you park, you still want to plan on being here early. The next question we have, also from the email, is what do we do if the parking lot is full? I think you're asking about our parking lot that is our main Powder Pig lot. And in that instance, if that parking lot is full, you're gonna have to go to park either at the Summit Central main lot or the Silver Fir lot. They also have an overflow lot for that area. Whatever you do, please do not park in residential areas or in no parking zones along the 906, which is that main road that runs through the summit at Snoqualmie. Cars that park in no parking zones will be ticketed and or towed, and we don't want that for any of you. If that's the case and you do end up running late, use that, the absence form that I'm gonna talk to you guys about a little bit later, or shoot me an email, and that way we can try to communicate with your instructor to let them know that there's a hiccup. All right, so now let's take a moment to meet one of our instructors, Matt, who's also a Powder Pig parent.
Go for it.
Hey, Matt Morio. I grew up in the Powder Pig Ski School, basically. I started taking lessons when I was about 3 or 4 years old. Really had a great time, a lot of great instructors. Became an instructor myself when I hit middle school and through high school and college. Really because I believe in the way we teach and how we focus on kids' learning and enjoyment first. Went away for a while and came back to the area about 5 years ago, just because I wanted my daughter to have the similar experience that I had. So been back with Powder Pigs for 5 years teaching, and really again because the way we focus on kids learning and how they learn to be successful and have fun, and then skiing. It's been a great experience. Again, you know, the care and dedication we have for these children and their experience is awesome, and very optimistic about this season, even with the different COVID and different restrictions going on.
All right, thank you, Matt. So our instructors come from all walks of life, from high schoolers to grandparents and everything in between and all around that. Some of our very best Powder Pig instructors are parents, as Matt is. If you're interested in teaching, email me, jennifer@powderpigs.com. By the end of the night, that's going to be ingrained in your head. Our instructors participate in fall dryland clinics. This year, those were online modules instead of in-person learning. During December and early January, they participate in small group on-snow clinics. We also offer mid-season continuing education opportunities for our instructors wanting to take their teaching to the next level. Let's talk about class assignments and the daily routine. Countless hours go into building all of our classes. We review the information you share about your child. For returning students, we also review the instructor notes from their class last season. We try to accommodate friend requests, but do not guarantee them. We aim to send class assignments via email a day or two before lessons. When you arrive, you will see those instructor signs I already mentioned. This is where you will drop off and pick up your student each day for lessons and at lunchtime for our Saturday and Sunday families. This year, class changes will not be made the same day of lessons. This is to keep each class as a pod and reduce exposure points. In the event an instructor thinks that a student needs a more comfy or more challenging class, they will communicate with management and the change will be made for the next week's lesson. In the event that a student really does not fit within the class that they were assigned and safety is a concern, the support team will evaluate the situation and make case-by-case decisions on how to proceed, keeping everyone's safety in mind. As you know, we've had to make several changes to our daily operating procedures and policies during COVID-19. Powder Pigs is going to look a little different this year, and we greatly appreciate your patience, your understanding, and your partnership as we go through this winter with a focus on student, family, and staff safety, health, and wellness. Some of the changes we have previously communicated include that the pig pen will be closed at all times except for the ground floor restrooms. If you need assistance from the management team, we will have folks posted outside in Powder Pig jackets with radios that can reach me or anyone else on our management team. We will also have an emergency doorbell stationed at the base of the stairs that go to the main floor. Myself or one of the other managers will get the bell, and then we will come and find you as soon as possible. There will be no kitchen access or hot chocolate service this season. Please tell your kiddos I'm sorry. The restrooms will be different this year, very different. All restrooms are going to be gender neutral. What was formerly the men's room at the end of the hallway towards the kitchen, that will become the staff restroom. What was formerly the women's restroom will become the student family restroom. We will have an entrance line at the back steps. Please make sure to maintain 6 feet of social distancing at all times while you're in line. We ask everyone to wait outside, and no lines may form inside of the building. Those cloth curtains, they're going to be replaced with vinyl curtains for easier disinfecting. The restrooms will be cleaned and disinfected multiple times per day. We're keeping the doors and windows in the restrooms open at all times during lessons. This will be a bit chilly, but it will allow us to meet the CDC recommended airflow guidelines. Our overall student capacity has been reduced by 50%. Our class sizes will also be reduced to meet the current guidelines. The biggest change for our school is that we had to alter our programs to be for students 7 and older and no beginner students. Students must be able to turn in both directions, stop, put their skis on if it happens to fall off, and also get up on their own if they fall. This will reduce the touch points between the student and the instructor, keeping everyone's safety in mind. Now, let's take a quick break to see how a student can get up on their own. The whole new one?
Hi, Powder Pig family. I'm Isabella, and today we're going to be talking about how kids can get up by themselves. I have Mackenzie over here to help show us. Mackenzie, can you scoot on to me? Uh-oh. Kenzie, did you fall? Yeah, are you hurt? No? Awesome. Okay, Mackenzie, can you lie on your back? Nice job. Can you put your skis up into the air? Just like that. Now, can you drop your skis that direction? Nice job. Do you see how her skis are facing across the hill? Her skis are also downhill and her body is uphill. We want your skis to be downhill so they don't slide when they get up. Okay, Kenzie, now can you sit up for me? Nice job. And now she's going to push with her hands and walk her hands forward, just like that. And now she stood up. Nice job, Mackenzie.
All right. So an email was also recently sent as well, showing different ways that someone can get up from a fall. Please help your student practice this skill either when out free skiing before lessons begin or at home in the yard or living room. Although if you have hardwood floors, probably do it outside. Students also must be able to confidently get on and off the lift alone and be able to safely ride the chairlift alone. The area will be loading the quad chairs in seats 1 and 4, the two outside-most seats that are closest to those side armrests. This will provide the distance between the chairlift users who are not in the same household. And like we are all used to nowadays, masks and social distancing are required at all times. Please, please bring multiple masks for your student in case one gets wet during lessons. We encourage you to have your child practice wearing their mask with their helmet on and their goggles down so that they can become familiar with how that feels. Families and staff are required to do a health and wellness screening every day before coming to the mountain. This includes taking temperatures, answering the health screening questions. All answers will be kept strictly confidential. A link to the screening form will be on our website's COVID page, as well as emailed out weekly. If someone forgets to do the screening before lessons, they will need to do it on site before they can participate in lessons for the day. Anyone with a potential exposure, known exposure, or symptoms of COVID-19 must stay home and also contact me. Powder Pig's entire COVID-19 operation plans and procedures can be found on our website. Please take time to read them and be familiar with the expectations and rules this year. We are all in this together. Each of our diligence is the best way we can protect one another. Everyone at Powder Pigs appreciates your understanding of these changes, and we certainly look forward to getting back to our normal, crazy Powder Pig ways in the future. So now let's hear from Marin, a current Powder Pig student.
Hi, my name is Marin. This is going to be my 3rd year at Powder Pigs. Now, something that I find very special about Powder Pigs that I really enjoy is that they take us to so many parts of the mountain. I've never experienced that at a ski school. Normally they just stick to one lift, but at Powder Pigs they take you around the whole mountain. They take you central, east, west, and I found out that I really like this run on east, and it just gives you so much diversity when you're skiing because sometimes you can memorize like a slope so that you're not really learning anymore. Yes, you're perfecting certain things, but you don't have the diversity and the skills to just go on any single slope. You have to be challenged with obstacles, powder, ice, and all of the above. Now, I would recommend Powder Pigs to any student trying to learn. It's such a caring facility, and I really enjoy it. Thank you.
All right, so now let's take a few more questions about the content we've already covered so far. All right, so it looks like there's a question: what support is being provided to students who may not be able to get on the lift independently? That is a really tough one to answer because, as we've said, is that the students need to be able to get on and off and ride the chairlift on their own confidently and safely. There are some lift operators that have been giving boosts to kids, but with social distancing, we also can't rely upon that. So I would really encourage you to work with your child in the preseason, practice getting on and off the chairlift and riding it safely and successfully on their own. Otherwise, if you are a pass holder or a skier, snowboarder, and you want to ride the lift with your child, you can absolutely do so to make sure that they have a chairlift buddy. But if you do that, we also really want to make sure to make it clear that you can ride up the lift with your child, but then once they're reunited with their class at the top, please go enjoy your run and give the class an immense amount of space to have their time for learning and teaching, and we'll meet you at the bottom. And if you are riding the chairlift with your student, I would recommend that you communicate with the instructor in advance so that you can work out predefined meeting points. That way you're not having to cluster at the base area where it's busiest, and you can develop a safe, socially distanced meeting spot where the class will come, and then you can meet your child and get back into the lift line. So Jonathan is asking, what is the emergency procedure for contacting parents in their cars, especially with spotty cell service in the lot? Jonathan, that is a great question because I know my cell phone service down in that parking lot, and it is not great. Although it has gotten better. I believe there was a new tower put in over kind of closer to the hotel. Not 100% on that, but my cell service does seem a little bit better this season. In that instance, I actually don't have an answer for you. You've brought up a great point that we're going to need to talk about and come up with a game plan. But we will find a way to reach you, and if we cannot reach you, if there's an emergency, know that there is going to be somebody from our support staff team that is on site the whole time. So if a child is injured, generally myself or one of our other managers stays with the child until they're reunited with their parent. If there's somebody that is ill or had an accident or any of those kinds of things, we're not leaving your babies. Please know that. Your babies are also our babies. So we will find you and we will care and love for them until we do. And I also just got word that there is a new cell tower at Hyack also. So that's also going to help boost up the cell service. The last question I've got is from email, and it is, what if I am not comfortable with my child riding the lift with a stranger? That's a great question. So as the area's COVID video showed us, that singles don't mingle, I think was their phrase. So if you are not comfortable with your student riding alone, they can elect to ride single. That is okay. So they just need to know to say, I'm riding single, and have that voice for themselves. All right. So now we're going to move into gear and what you will need, proper layering, and more. Because your student already has at least one season of prior experience, we're not going to dive too deep into the gear conversation we normally have at the parent information meetings, because you already know. So it's very important that your student comes to lessons properly dressed. Good layers and extra layers are more important this year since the pig pen will be closed. Please be sure that your child is not wearing any cotton, and especially as their socks. Every year I see children wearing cotton socks. Cotton absorbs moisture and is slow to dry. This can lead to hypothermia and frostbite. So please remember this phrase, cotton kills. No cotton allowed at Powder Pigs. Base and mid layers, in addition to outer layers, are a great way to ensure temperature regulation. Outer layers should be waterproof. Make sure pant cuffs go all the way over the outside of the boot and are not tucked in and scrunched above the boot. This will prevent wet feet. Speaking of feet, the only thing that goes in the boot is the foot and the ski sock, not long johns. The long johns can bunch up, and their seam lines can also prevent pressure points, which causes potential circulation decreases or cutoffs in their circulation, which also can lead to cold feet. Hopefully everyone has their gear squared away already. If not, our partner shops are happy to help. Remember, Powder Pigs does not provide any gear. You are responsible for clothing, boots, skis or snowboard, poles, if warranted, helmet, and your student's season's pass. Girk's Ski and Cycle in Issaquah, Edge and Spoke in Redmond, and Alpine Hut in Seattle are all great resources. If you're still needing to finish getting your child's gear together, please check before going, because some of their stores are appointment only. Another reminder is to bring multiple masks, as I've said before, for each member of your family, not just for the student, as well as extra mittens or gloves in case anything gets wet during lessons. And as Nancy always reminds us, be sure to put your name on everything, absolutely everything. Oh, I got so excited, pardon me. We recommend that you use a Sharpie for that because you won't have access to the pig pen. Normally, Nancy says she has Sharpies for everybody, but this year that won't be the case. So please go get a silver or gold Sharpie for those black fabrics, and the lighter fabrics, use a black Sharpie. Put your name on everything. We all buy the same gear, so from time to time mix-ups occur. A well-labeled item will help ensure that we can get it back to the right owner. So now let's see if we have any gear questions. What masks and gaiters are compliant? That is a really great question. It sounds like a couple people have been asking. Thank you. So compliant, Powder Pigs, all we're doing is we're reinforcing the current guidelines. And the current guidelines are to have a multi-layer mask or gaiter. So if you have, for instance, a couple years back, I got an Alpental gaiter that's just a very thin single layer fabric that if you stretch it far enough apart, you can actually see some light through it. That's not gonna help you. What you're gonna want is a multi-layer mask that has the different components of fabric types, or a gaiter. And another option with those gaiters is a lot of them, I can't remember the brand, but it's a 2-ply layer. And then you can also fold it down upon itself to make a 4-ply layer, which is even better. The most important part is to make sure that it is covering your nose completely and that it wraps tightly around here. So with a gaiter, it's gonna come down, which is good. But if it's a mask, you want to avoid the cheek gaps and you want to avoid the under the chin gaps. And of course, sliding off the nose, which as a glasses wearer, I can also say, talk about a pain in the tush. So I recommend looking up some anti-fog solutions. A girlfriend of mine just found something specifically for glasses, not goggles, that you spray on and buff out, and that really helped my glasses from fogging up with my mask on. And so I'm gonna be trying that this season to see if it helps at all, in addition to the anti-fog in my goggles. So another question that we just got is, what mask should I buy for my kids? I don't have a specific recommendation for you on that. I'm gonna go back to the good, proper fitting. And there are out there one size fits all, kid sizes, medium adult sizes, large sizes, extra large sizes. I wouldn't be surprised if they start making masks for the bearded man sizes. Who knows? But the best thing I can tell you is to make sure that you have the proper fit of a mask or a gaiter and that it's a multi-ply layer. And what if we forget our mask or it gets too wet? So if you end up in a pickle and you don't have any more masks available for your family, come and talk to management. We do have a limited supply of disposable masks. I know for sure we have adult sizes, and I think we also were able to get some children's sizes, or child size. But as you guys probably all know, this stuff is really hard to come by sometimes, and so we grab it when we can, and when we can't, we can't. So that's that. But those are great gear questions, you guys. Thank you so much. All right, so you guys have been so fabulous, and I appreciate you sticking through this. Good news, we're almost done, and we'll move to additional questions shortly and open up the full Q&A. The last thing we're going to address is some of the nuts and bolts of powder pigs, such as absences, tardiness, allergies, and more. Even the most timely people, which I am not, can find themselves running late sometimes. If you find yourself running late to powder pigs, please take a breath, slow down. The last thing we want is a family speeding in the snow. If you know in advance that you're going to be late, use the absence form to let us know. A link is going to be emailed each week and also will be on our website under the fine print, which is under the first main menu tab. I recommend bookmarking that link for easy access from your computer or your cell phone. Please make sure to submit one form per student and use their whole name. And that way, we have so many Jennifers and Jessicas or Johnnies, and so please give us a first and last name. This helps us process the information more quickly. When you arrive, check in with someone from our support team in front of the pig pen. We will do our best to contact your child's instructor. However, if you are more than 10 minutes late, meeting up with the class may not be possible until after lunch if the class is already out and about on the mountain. So what about student absences? They happen. If your child needs to miss a lesson due to illness, previous commitment, or in my kid's case, funky attitude, we get it, no problem. Just be sure to let us know by filling out the absence form already discussed. This helps us get classes out on time. Another quick note about absences is that we are unable to provide makeup lessons. This has been a policy for Powder Pigs for a few seasons now, and so I just want to make that clear now, is that if your child does miss a lesson, thank you for telling us, but unfortunately we are unable to accommodate a makeup lesson, especially during a pandemic. So allergy and medical alerts. These were something that you were asked about during registration. We review all of that information and ensure that the instructor is aware of it. I'm a nurse, and so I personally receive all of your child's medical information when you submit that stuff, and I review it and I meet one-on-one with the instructor to talk to them and make sure that we're good to go. If I ever have questions about what you put in that medical information, I will call you directly to make sure I have a clear understanding. So please know that. We take that very, very seriously. I also would really like for you to please check in with the instructor one-on-one to make sure that they don't have any additional questions that you can answer best as the parent. So please talk to your instructor about that. So about anaphylactic allergies. Please bring 2 EpiPens if you can to the mountain. We're further away from emergency services, and it's best to always be prepared. And speaking of Epi, not all instructors are comfortable carrying the EpiPen on their own person. So if that's the case with your instructor, please be sure to tuck it into a pocket that the instructor knows where it's located, just in case of an emergency. The same is true for inhalers. If your child needs one while they're out skiing, it's best that they carry it in their own pocket so it's right there when they need it. Hopefully, by now, everyone has ordered their student seasons pass. It's important to have that before the first day of lessons. In the event you do not have your student's pass when lessons start, please plan on coming up extra early and stopping at one of the Summit guest service or ticket sales windows to pick up a temporary day pass for them. These are located at the main lodge at Central, the guest services building at Summit West, which in my opinion is the easiest to access if you're just hopping out of your car and running, or at the base of Silver Fir Lodge. So back to parking real quick. Again, for those of you who were with us last year, you probably remember what a nightmare finding a parking spot was, especially on Saturdays and Sundays. Friday, that wasn't a problem. The area is anticipating that parking will be better this season because there is a reduced capacities within all of the ski schools, as well as reduced pass sales and ticket sales. However, we are still encouraging you to arrive by 9 a.m. at the latest to secure a parking place, and then that gives you time to use the portable restroom or stop by the Travelers Rest Stop over by Summit West, which is right by Red Mountain Coffee. Grab a latte and get your child geared up and ready to walk all the way to the pig pen. Remember that this season, your car will be your base camp. Plan on only bringing what is needed for lessons up the mountain and up to the pig pen. We have no secure lockers or gear storage locations. Please also remember not to leave valuables in your car, especially anything that identifies where your house is located. So, and about that, a couple seasons ago, there was a Friday night family who were up at lessons, and this is why this is so important. They were up at lessons and somebody broke into their car. And they got into the glove box where there was not only their registration that had their home address, but also their home key. The burglars took that information knowing that they would be delayed for quite a while while out skiing, and our lot is a known lesson lot, so in lessons. And they drove all the way to that family's house and then burglarized their home. And that is something we never, ever want to have happen to anyone, let alone our Powder Pig community. So please make sure that you don't keep identifying documents in your car. I personally scan my registration and my insurance information, and I keep digital copies of that on my phone, so that way if I have to present license, registration, all of that kind of stuff, I've got it digitally. But we want to keep you guys safe and keep your families safe. So please make sure that you don't bring valuables in your car. So an email is going to be coming out, changing gears, an email is going to be coming out soon that is going to include helpful links and tools to resources that you can use to be best prepared for winter driving. Weather forecasts, and our partner ski shops if you're not already familiar with them, and much more. Last is communication. The best way to communicate if you have questions, need help, or have a concern is to email me, Jennifer@powderpigs.com. We do not have a regularly, there it is. We do not have a regularly staffed office or phone line, so email is best. We will begin sending weekly updates via email, as well as last-minute announcements. Please be sure to read all the emails. They all have content that is pertinent to you. And last year, I was really not pleased to be out in the parking lot and overhear one mom ask another mom a question, and the mom answered, well, it was in the email, and the other mom replied, oh, I don't read those. So if we take the time to write them and to try to communicate with you, please take the time to know what's going on. We're all here for your children. General information and last-minute updates are posted to our website, as long as we have power and internet, that is. Facebook is another good resource for helpful videos, information, photos, and last-minute updates. If you're not already following us, do. You can find us by searching the ski school name or by going @PowderPigsSki. We use Instagram for occasional photo updates, which is also @PowderPigsSki. Be sure to tag us on social media when you're out on your ski adventures using #PowderPigsSki and #PowderPigAdventures. Before we begin to wrap things up and do some Q&A, let's hear from Peter, one of our instructors and clinicians.
Hi, I'm Peter Morrison, and for the last couple years I've been teaching and learning with the Powder Pig program. It's truly been my pleasure, as I'm able to learn a lot while teaching at the same time. Communicating with a diverse group of kids, showing them the fun, improving their skills, while also improving my own. The more you're up there talking about it, thinking about it, pays off. And then on a non-teaching day, you'll notice that you're skiing much better yourself just from having the mileage with the kids. Another thing is the support from the top down. Founder Nancy all the way to the people that help load the chairs. Powder Pigs has your back, and it makes it really easy for you to have a good, successful lesson on lesson day. Another great thing is you're teaching kids the best part of winter, and that is the mountains.
Awesome. As Pete just mentioned, student and staff safety has always been and will continue to be a #1 priority, as well as the Powder Pig experience. We look forward to having a terrific winter with you and your family, and thank you all for joining us tonight. We're going to move to the Q&A portion, and I'm going to try to go through as many of the questions that you guys have posted as possible. But thank you all for joining us for our first ever live virtual parent information night. That wraps up our evening. Thank you to Seattle Live's PNTA. And if I don't answer your question tonight, please email them to me, Jennifer@powderpigs.com. The YouTube comments will not be monitored after the live event ends. So thanks again to Seattle Lives and PNTA for helping us produce our first live event. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to go over to the Q&A now before we clear. So Amber's asking what date lessons start. Amber, I don't know off the top of my head what day your family is registered for. But as of right now, lessons are scheduled to start January 8, 9, and 10. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So whichever day you registered for, just know it's the weekend of the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Are lessons ever canceled? And if so, why and how does that work? That's a great question. So yes, sometimes lessons are canceled, or postponed is another word we use. This could be if the pass is closed, or if there is an onslaught of freezing rain and the area, we just feel like the terrain's not safe. If the area loses power, that's another reason why we'd cancel lessons. And what happens is that we tack them on to the end of the year. So if you go to powderpigs.com and you click on schedule on that menu bar, it's going to tell you the start date, the break date, and the end date. And I'm going to come back to that break date in a minute. That's something I didn't include. But that end date, so if we have to cancel a lesson, then we bump that end date back 1 week. And we'll communicate that in the event that that ever occurs. So real quick, in terms of the break date, in case you were not familiar, please do go to powderpigs.com, look at the schedule, and make sure that you are familiar with when our break is. Standing here on a stage, I don't know it off the top of my head, so I'm not even going to try to guess, except my lovely, awesome back-end folks are telling me that it is the weekend of February 19th to the 21st. Thank you so much for that, you guys. So the break is February 19, 20, and 21. There are no lessons that weekend. So that was the thing I wanted to tell you about break. So the next question, it looks like a couple people are asking is there a waiting list to switch days, or can we switch days? So in that instance, if you could please send me an email so that I can see what day you're currently registered for, where your child's at in terms of skill levels, and then compare that to the classes that have already been built to ensure that there's an adequate spot for them to learn and flourish this season. That would be really great. I didn't buy a season's pass yet. What are my options? Another great question. So I'm not sure if you're talking about yourself as a parent or a student or your child as a student. If you are enrolled in lessons and do not, or your child is enrolled in lessons and do not yet have a season's pass, please email me. I will send you the information to order a pass. However, if you are not on the enrollment list as a student, you cannot get a pass. The area audits our student pass roster multiple times a season, and if they find that there is a pass holder under the Powder Pigs credentials that is not on the roster, that pass will be shut down with no refund. So that is only for students. But if your student, or if you are a student, still needs to purchase a pass, shoot me an email and I will send you that information within the next couple days so that you can get that pass ordered. Blake is wondering, what if my 8-year-old isn't comfortable on the chair without assistance? Can we get a refund? That is a good question, Blake, and I really like that your 8-year-old is communicating their comfort levels and their boundaries with you, and that you're communicating that with me as well. Thank you. So in that instance, I would like you to please give me an email. Let's talk through this one-on-one and figure out, we'll look at where their class placement is and what it is that they're not comfortable with. Typically in Powder Pigs, once a child is 7 or older, that's when they can start riding the chairlift alone with other kids, that kind of stuff. And that's why we had to cut our enrollment to be 7 and up, because the Powder Pig rule is that 6 and under cannot ride a chairlift without an adult. So Blake, why don't you and I do some offline one-on-one on that, and we'll figure out a solution and we will make it work. So shoot me an email, jennifer@powderpigs.com. Darren is wondering, we pulled our 7-year-old out, but are willing to ride the chair with him. Is it too late to get back in rather than defer? Okay, awesome, Darren. Thank you for that too. God, I feel like a broken record at this point saying, email me, which I see that you did also shoot me an email, so thank you for that. I'm going to review your email, and I'm going to communicate with you directly. I'll have to look at when you submitted the cancellation form and whether or not we have a space to slip your 7-year-old back in there. And to everybody else who has been sending me emails, that's perfect. Also, please know that I am just but one woman, so please give me 48 hours to respond to you. My boss at my full-time job is also watching this right now to see how it goes, so he knows that I'm planning on taking the next 2 days off of work to work on Powder Pigs, to read all your emails. Sorry, John, but I won't be there because it looks like I have a lot of emails to get through. So I will respond to you in the next 48 hours, you guys. Are Powder Pigs staff on a walkie-talkie channel that parents can tune into for emergencies? No, sorry, that's a hard no in my book. We have our own private frequency, and we do not actually want anybody else having access to that because there's confidential information that is sometimes discussed over radio communication. If there is an emergency, we will communicate directly with the parent. Generally, it's myself or Annalisa that is making that phone call. But no, our radio channels are not public, and sorry, that one just doesn't work because we have to keep our student and staff information confidential. It looks like we're getting another question in right now that's asking for clarity if gaiters are allowed versus masks. Yes, gaiters are allowed. Max, do you happen to have a gaiter here? No. That was a no from Max. He might, so we're gonna hold on for a second while Max runs around the studio and, oh, thank you. All right, so, this is a gaiter that, as you can see the red of my shirt shining through it, this is a single layer gaiter. So this is a terrible idea of a gaiter to wear because it's not providing you, it's about as sheer as my nylons. Then we have another gaiter. This is a cotton gaiter, also sheer. The thing with these that you can do, like I was mentioning, thank you Lola for the gaiter, sweet puppy, is you can double down. So now this is a 2-ply, 2-layer gaiter. So that's a possibility. Come on, Lola, come on, come on. Good girl, good girl. Here you go, baby. Okay, you go be safe. Good girl. And in this instance, this thing is so big, it's almost as big as my torso is. Good girl. Good girl. Here, you could conceivably, again, double down to create your double layer. But it doesn't really look quite big enough to be that quad layer or a triple layer. So in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, this type of a buff is not, or a gaiter is not adequate. I will do the research and find out the brand that I was specifically thinking of that I cannot remember, and I will send that out to you guys, but it's a 2-layer, so when you rub the layers, you can actually feel the 2 layers in it. Max?
Blackstrap.
Blackstrap?
Which was mentioned in the comments, does have a 2-ply.
That's the one, yes. Blackstrap is a brand that is 2-ply that somebody did mention in the comments. Thank you for that.
And OR has a face mask integrated.
And OR has an integrated face mask. Thank you, Max. Okay. And there also is a kids integrated face mask from whom, Isabella? From Amazon, and Isabella's going to send me the information so that I can send it to you. Now we're getting to the entertaining part of the night where I start having people yelling at me from different points instead of me reading a teleprompter. So the next question is, how do I check our temperatures at the mountain if I forgot to do my COVID screening at home? That is another great question. So if you forget to do your COVID screening at home, you need to come and check in with management. One of your instructor is going to ask every day, or should ask every day, did you do your health and wellness check? And if you go, oh my gosh, we had a day, we forgot, they're gonna say, okay, please go see management. You're gonna get sent to myself or somebody else. We're going to bring you to a designated area, and we're gonna do a temperature screening. We're gonna ask you some basic questions or have you scan a QR code and answer the questions yourself, and then you're good to go. That's it. But we would prefer that you do it at home. I recommend grabbing a thermometer if you don't already have one. From whatever local pharmacy or grocery store or major online next delivery day company you prefer to shop with, go get yourself a thermometer and do that every day before you come to lessons, because in the event of a fever, I'd hate for somebody to drive all the way up to then be turned away from lessons. So please do your health checks at home. What do I do if I am concerned about my child's class fit? Another great question. So if you are concerned about your child's class placement, if it's an immediate safety concern, we want to hear from you right away. As I already mentioned, we're not going to be doing same-day class changes in order to keep that pod, to reduce points of contact. So if it is a safety concern, we absolutely want to hear from you. We don't want to minimize that. That's important to us. But if it's just that, little Timmy's not being challenged enough, or if an instructor comes and says that the student is being over-challenged, we're going to ask them to try to kind of take the day in stride and be able to challenge both skill sets within their class while keeping it safe. And then you can email me. And I will be reviewing all emails throughout the week. I will be meeting virtually with our management team on a weekly basis to review everything that we receive. And we will try to make changes before the next week happens. Next comment, will classes ride on a chair as a pod? That's a really great question. And honestly, I have to talk to the area's COVID supervisor. I'm the Powder Pig COVID supervisor, and what I've read within the guidelines is a little bit different than what I've heard from the area. So I'm going to have a meeting with the COVID supervisor for the area to make sure that I fully understand. So here's what I do know. On a quad, they are going to be loading 2 people to a chairlift in seats, it's hard on a screen, but in seats 1 and 4. So on the 2 outer edges with the 2 open seats in the middle. Now, the area in the video you saw, it says that something like if you ride together, you can ride together, insinuating that if you are a skiing group, you can ride the chairlift together. But Powder Pigs is still discussing this, and we will be providing more information soon. Honestly, I'm not comfortable putting 2 people from other households on a 2-person chairlift together. Just because you're in a class together 1 day a week doesn't mean that you are a safety pod. So I am going to talk with the management team and with the COVID supervisor at the area, and we're going to work on a group consensus about that one. And also, as the area's video mentioned and I talked about earlier, is that if your child needs to ride single for your own family's comfort levels, that will absolutely be allowed this year. They just need to vocalize that. And we ask you to please help your child learn how to have their voice and speak for themselves, and to tell the instructor so that the instructor can stand up for your child too, because they're there to do that. So I'm sorry I don't have a great answer to that one. But know that we are discussing it and we are working on it, and we're also just watching the ever-changing guidelines and situations. But your children's safety is our first and foremost importance. So it looks like we are down to the last question that came in from email again. What happens if I am late on Friday nights? If you are late on Friday nights, you are please going to check in with one of our management team members. They will radio and try to find the class, but if it is an advanced class and they are already all the way out at Parachute, know that it takes them at least 45 minutes to get back to the pig pen. So if you're more than 10 minutes late, you might not be meeting up with your class on a Friday night. Your child might have to free ski with you. Friday nights are trickier because it's a shorter program, and once the classes get out there, it's really, really hard for them to get all the way back across the mountain to our area. So we will absolutely do our best, and if you know in advance that you're going to be running like 15 minutes late because of some medical appointment or what have you, let us know that in advance, and then we can tell the instructor and they can take local warm-up runs while they wait for your child to arrive. We will always do everything that we can to accommodate late arrivals, but we also won't jeopardize the educational benefit of the rest of the class if it's something that's too much for us to be able to accommodate. So that's a kind of bummer note to end this parent info night on, but that was the last question I see popping up. So you guys, if you have any other questions, concerns, anything, I would love to hear from you. Melissa, thank you so much for the great job. Amber, you too. Chad, oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. I love you guys so much. This has been terrifying for me, so thank you. Amir, so good to hear from you. I know that you did email me. I've been really busy prepping for tonight, so Amir, I am gonna be getting to your emails in the next couple of days. Oh my gosh, look at all your guys' fine comments. Has there been any thought given to, I probably shouldn't be reading these out loud, actually, I should read them in my head. But whatever, here we go. So Catherine, thank you. Has there been any thought given to having a couple people working on answering emails so Jennifer isn't overwhelmed? Catherine, thank you so much. And there has been thought. I have been pushing some of the emails off as a few of you, some of you do know, I did have a death in my family recently, and that took something out of my time frame. And then of course I was hit by Thanksgiving and a birthday for my son and Christmas. And so yes, I was overwhelmed. But I will be on track and catching up on emails. And also for the parents that send me an email that says like plus ping or whatever it is that you guys do to like ping me again, gently follow up or nudge, that's totally okay. I appreciate that because I want to answer you, but by you bringing it back to the top, that's also very helpful as I work through everything else. I try to start at the bottom and then work my way up, but sometimes the importance level requires the other way. But Catherine, thank you. I do appreciate that, and I have been pushing off some of my emails to other members in our management team to offload my workload. Oh, Dominique, I know. So the lunch situation in the cars, the pig pen is closed this year. There will be no indoor access except for the basement bathrooms. So families are either going to be having lunch in their cars or outside socially distanced. And this video is being recorded, so it will be accessible on our website. So for anybody that tuned in late, if you missed anything, you will be able to access it and watch it again. Cheers to you, Amir. I'm gonna go get my beer that's right over there in just a minute. And that's it, you guys. Go have a wonderful evening. We look forward to seeing your families on the mountain and making it a very positive, safe, healthy, memorable 2021. We wish you all well. Good night, you guys.